The surprise meeting with the family was really interesting. While traveling, Ben Dawson with his wife, they invited me to the farm for the weekend. But after a hearty outdoor barbecue and walk through the field in the afternoon, enjoy the beautiful nature, Ben wants to leave. They are constantly being stopped for countless reasons, until you realize the real secret of the host. The Dawson family is paralyzed by fear. It's the beginning of a terrifying chain of events. Speak No Evil. The horror movie just came out this year. Is a remake of the original movie of the same name from Dan Vang. Films directed by James Watkins go deeper into the potential danger and how our goodness is taken advantage of by others. You're ready to decipher the whole thing. Speak No Evil with the movie. The video will reveal a lot of important information about this movie. A spoiler alert for all of you. To Heal the Couple's Feelings by Louis Adultery Mistake. Ben Georgian decides to take his wife and daughter, Agnes, travel to Italy. Here they meet and befriended a couple of liberal British, Patty and Sierra, with their son. Aunt has difficulty speaking syndrome. Shortly after, Patty sent an invitation to the whole family for his remote farm during the weekend holidays. Excited to invite wife, Ben thinks this is a good opportunity for Agnes to get to know and exposed to new things. The first day we met was wonderful. When Patty and Sierra show that you are hospitable and friendly, the longer Ben stays with Lise, the more unusual things you notice. In Patty's lifestyle, he's stubborn, impulsive aggression, and the most dangerous is inappropriate behavior. To raise an aunt. Every time they are about to leave, Patty and Sierra always try to keep them for a reason. Surprisingly, when the shy boy has a chance to reveal the truth to Agnes, it's revealed that Patty and Sierra are actually scammers to get to know and lead well-off families home, and tried to kill them. More terrible, they've also kidnapped children from bad families. Under the guise of a happy family, Patty and Sierra trick not know how many victims, and when it's done, they will mercilessly murder that child, and then continue the hunt for new prey. Shocked by this secret, Ben's family and the aunt boy through the haunting moment of birth and death. Before Sierra was knocked down from the second floor by Lise, Patty was killed by Aunt with a brick. One of the reasons for Speak No Evil becomes scary, it creates anxiety for the viewer, came from Patty's overly aggressive, violent personality. It's not normal. Just a few seconds ago, he was friendly and happy, but soon it was scary. Not to mention, he often forces others to obey him, or force them to do something they don't want to do. When Ben's whole family arrived, Patty caught Louis. He ate the meat that he had prepared. Even if you're a vegetarian, if you look at the story, it's completely normal. It's been a few months since they met in Italy, so Patty must have forgotten that Louis was a vegetarian and don't use meat-based foods. However, the next day, when two couples eat at a restaurant, Daddy continued to force her to use dishes made from meat. Louis reminded me. He constantly appreciates sarcasm. It's even flexible about Louis' eating habits. It makes you unhappy. Patty's hostility increased in many different directions at a time when we least expect it. Psychiatrist William H. J. Martins, author of the article, The Hidden Pain of the Psychopath Who Thinks. Patty has signs of someone with this syndrome. Sociopath is also known as antisocial personality disorder, and don't care about other people's feelings. The way Patty treated Louis. It's just one of the many symptoms of this disease. Patients often behave impulsively, easy to get angry. In addition, they also try to rationalize the behavior, lack of social norms, always find a way to lie and cover up violence against others. Most patients have a personality disorder. Antisocial. They all suffered psychological damage as children in families with unhealthy lives. This leads us to the real motive, after Patty's robbery, for the ill-fated victims he's hunting. The truth about Patty and Sierra, it's hidden for most of the movie. Even though Aunt tried to warn Agnes, I still wonder what the couple's motives really are. Patty and Sierra tried to kill, and robbing their entire property was obvious. The problem is that, why don't they kill all the members of the family? It took no effort to keep the baby. Why does Patty keep most of his personal items? Same photo taken with the families after killing them. In a moment, Patty and Sierra are used to try to have children and a miscarriage at 12 weeks. There's no information to confirm that this is true or was part of a plan to manipulate Ben with Louis. But it shows Patty and Sierra actually planned to build the perfect family home to cover up the crime. As usual, families with children, it is easy to build trust and make a good impression from their daddy. It can be approached and lead the victim to a teething trap. If you look at this class, sharing Patty and Sierra's desire to have children will quickly win Ben's sympathy with Louis. However, in the meal, Patty talks about how parents can spoil their children to impose beliefs and ideals in our upbringing. In a way, Patty's words show a part of his childhood. More likely, he's been a victim of his parents' derangement. That lead to the psychological instability. So when you see a movie from another family, Patty was quickly disappointed because they're not what he wants. He's willing to be aggressive. Unnecessary violence against the aunt in front of everyone. Even him and Sierra tried to teach daily activities for little Agnes. It made Louis very upset. This act marks the moment Patty and Sierra ready for a fresh start with Agnes and can remove the aunt at any time. From here, we can see Patty and Sierra's motives when constantly changing the kids. On the one hand, both can change their identities, avoid being identified by others. Deeper than Daddy wants to find the kid he thinks is right. Enough to carry part of his personality, or in other words, he wants to manipulate, turn them into miniature copies of themselves. That's why Patty was so excited at the end of the movie and decided to use a brick to kill him. He said, "That is my son." As the affirmation, he has successfully reignited the violence. Shy boy. For a brief moment, he and Aunt seemed too exotic. Let Aunt Tybin finish Patty. It's a bright spot for the whole thing. It shows that children are raised in the environment, being physically and mentally abused, how we can ruin their future. Other side, Aunt is the epitome of Patty herself as a child, full of hurt, anger, and fear. I went hunting with Ben. Teddy shows his joy in chasing his prey. He said the most important thing about hunting, it's not about being brave enough to air down the hand with prey, it's about guiding it step by step into the trap that I've got my teeth in. In the context of the film, this is a very clear picture of the disease, antisocial personality disorder that Patty has. Many psychiatrists point out that lying and deceiving in order to exploit others, it's a symptom of the disease. It shows patients often do not feel remorse, that's constantly trying to rationalize their actions. That's why Teddy is constantly looking for new prey, not only to plunder but to satisfy the beast in him. To be a hunter, step by step planning to bring the victim to death. Personal items photo taken together, even the expensive watches he kept in the closet like booty after every hunting trip. Inhumane. When Ben's entire family tried to escape, they locked the door, locked Patty and Sierra inside the room. At this very moment, Sierra begged them to take her because you were Patty's first victim. Is this the truth? In fact, Sierra was Betty's victim. Trash is removed throughout the film. In a scene, Louis saw many bruises on Sierra's abdomen. It's like being beaten for a long time. Of course, at the time, Ben and Louis have yet to discover the truth, so Sierra's wounds are hard to understand in front of Ben. Patty always loves his wife. It's even too intimate. Besides, when dining at the restaurant, Sierra and Patty reveal how often relationship between two husbands. The paper also suspects that whether Sierra was the victim of Patty's abuse and physical and mental violence. According to Sierra, she and Patty have been together for 17 years, given the age gap between the two. It's very strange and inappropriate. Add to that, if you remember, Patty has a hobby of collecting trophies. It once belonged to the victim, like their watches or their luggage. We'll see there's something wrong in the number of ill-fated families. Based on the album that Aunt showed Agnes, there are 8 families, including the murdered Aunt family. There are 9 watches in the Patty cabinet. If we look closely, we can hypothesize the first watch in Betty's collection. It belonged to Sierra's family. When Patty finally found out Sierra was dead, he's controlling Agnes, but he doesn't intend to kill her. He said he was alone now, so he'll let Agnes live to take care of him. From here we can see the picture, the relationship between Sierra and Patty as follows. 17 years ago, Teddy met Sierra's family and killed them. But he didn't go down with Sierra. He nurtured her. Step-by-step manipulation lured her into accomplice is the victim, and at the same time they're influenced by toxic thinking. Slowly Sierra fell in love with him, accepted the abuse, and became Patty's wife. There is a false feeling between them, the line between victim and love. In some ways, Sierra is disgusting Teddy. On the other hand, you are also dependent on him. Along with that, Sierra is representing the children, hurt when growing up by improper upbringing of adults for young children. After being arrested, Ben asked Patty, "Why did you try to kill your family?" And Patty happily replied, "Because you allowed me to." Most families come to the farm on their own. Patty, after being invited by him, they're all polite and happy to make friends. With a new friend, can't say Patty's victim was naive or his plan is perfect. The opposite in most cases. Ben and Luis could have made another choice, like not coming to Patty's house or leaving earlier. The problem is that they're all out of politeness. That makes inappropriate decisions, like a wake-up call. Speak no evil as evidence of disclosure of personal information. How dangerous is it? As soon as we meet, Ben was so excited about the fact that he just moved. We're in the new job search phase. Hey, not a good relationship with the neighborhood. No one remembers them, even if it's just a polite speech. Ben inadvertently telling strangers too much about family. That's what allowed Patty to plan. Lead them to the trap that Ra's teeth have set. I can't say this is all Ben's fault. Even in times like this, your actions put the whole family in danger. It shows the world out there it's not really a safe place, and high vigilance is always necessary. This explains why the name of the movie is Speak No Evil, or not say bad things. If only Ben or Louis had a more determined attitude. Dare to say what makes you uncomfortable. Not afraid to offend others. Maybe Agnes or Aunt. I didn't have to have a bad nightmare to ease the burden of the message. End of movie. Sobbing because of persistent psychological trauma, Agnes gave him her favorite cotton bunny. As confirmed, the children represent the next generation. We can build a better future with kindness, but it's also full of toughness and integrity. As mentioned, Speak No Evil by James Watkins. It's a remake of the Danish film of the same name, production 2022. However, the remake version, it's about 70% identical to the original movie. Instead of Patty killing Ben's entire family, they played James Watkins to fight, reclaiming life from the hands of death, reversing the fate of the characters. The second half of Speak No Evil, more stressful and attractive part. It's also going to help us see more of Patty and Sierra's past, as well as showing the wrong way to raise children. It can lead to bad consequences. But the point is that I'm interested. With this remake, it's about directing James Watkins for Louis. Agnes and Aunt, more proactive when trying to expose the perpetrator. Need know in the Danish version, the young Aunt was shot and killed right after dinner. Discovered the Aunt's body. Ben immediately called his wife and children up and ran away. There's something I didn't explain. Everything with my wife and daughter, leading to Patty's caught up and controlled the whole family. To change that tragedy in the version, remake Aunt. I tried many times to explain and show Agnes Patty's evidence of a crime. She had a chance to talk to her parents, to help four people get ready to fight against their evil. For the audience, the new ending helps the message. The importance of raising your children properly of the film becomes prominent. At the same time, children learn to protect themselves. It can create a reversal. Personally, I think that's why I cast Agnes and Aunt. Directed by James Watkins, deliberately choosing two children older than the original not only makes the plot tighter, but also makes sure Agnes and Aunt enough maturity in action and thought. Besides, it also shows how important is a child's opinion. It's not hard to see most of the families didn't really listen to the kids. We're always caught up in the cycle of life. They often accidentally ignore them. Speak No Evil is the proof. Just listen carefully. We'll have to startle by the wisdom and sanity of the children. You can say Speak No Evil. It's a rare case of a remake. you can overcome the shadow. The original left. James McAvoy's performance was outstanding. It makes the viewer spikes every time Patty shows up. Intense tension film beats, constantly being accelerated to increase the insecurity in the audience. Even if you say it, you have to say it again. The film still has some points that the audience not really satisfied, like how Ben's family got out pretty easily under Betty's control, or Mike, who's an accomplice to Patty and Sierra. It doesn't matter whether you show up or not. Next to it, Agnes quickly grabbed the syringe containing the anesthetic. I hit Patty at the end of the movie. Make him fall has not convinced the hard-nosed critics. Trouble in some parts. It also causes a feeling of excess. However, if you ignore the defects, speak no evil. Still a work worth seeing this year.